We have multiple Lakers updates to go over today, as this has serious implications going forward, as JJ Redick has revealed some very interesting updates surrounding both Luka Doncic, Austin Reaves, and an interesting one surrounding Jordan Goodwin. We're going to break that down and discuss what this means going forward as Lakers continue to climb up the Western Conference. We also have some interesting comments from Luka that has Lakers fans fired up. Stay tuned for all that in this episode, but before we get into it, if you're a part of the 89.5% who aren't subscribed to the channel, this is the place to be for daily Lakers content. Your guys' support has been unbelievable, so thank you guys for that as we're on the road to the big goal of 20,000 subscribers. Ladies and gentlemen, there's a lot to go over today. Now, obviously, we know the Lakers are in the midst of a very, very good stretch of play as it pertains to actually climbing up the Western Conference. They are now the 2 seed after a big win yesterday, but they are dealing with a lot of injuries. Hachimura, Austin Reaves, Jordan Goodwin, and we know the MRI came back clean on Austin Reaves, but we have some big updates surrounding him from JJ Redick, as well as one for Jordan Goodwin that isn't fantastic. We'll dive right into it all now, but I want to start with the Luka Doncic stuff because he also went out with an injury for a little bit in yesterday night's game and then, of course, came back and looked fine. But he said that he got kneed in his right knee, causing him to briefly leave the game tonight. It was sore from the repeated collisions. Third straight game, the same spot. So I was kind of struggling on that right leg, but I'm good. So the good news is that it's not a serious injury. It's not a calf strain or anything like that. He kept getting hit in the knee, it seems like, but ultimately, he came back in the game and he had his best game as a Laker yesterday. Super efficient. He 5 from 12 from 3. Still needs to work on his free throw shooting a little bit. The team does in general. But the fact that we know Luka Doncic is healthy now, it seems that his injury that kept him out Christmas time for a while is behind him. But now we're at the point where not only is Luka playing a lot better, he is looking good. So I just want to throw that out there because I know a lot of fans, also people down below in the comment section, were a little bit concerned about Luka and how he was a little bit limpy on that right knee. He's fine. It was just a knee-on-knee collision, and he is good now. And speaking of some other comments that Luka has made, before we dive into some of the other updates, as it pertains to Austin Reaves and Jordan Goodwin, Luka Doncic said he's already learned how other teams tend to get up to play the Lakers and give them their best shot. I didn't believe it before, but they say if somebody is out a long time, then they play against the Lakers. So I think that's normal now. And that was following asking Luka Doncic about, of course, yesterday's game. I mean, we saw Norman Powell come into the game and then leave early. We saw a bunch of different things with the Lakers and with the Clippers. Yesterday was a weird game, and it's kind of funny that, this whole thing is just true ultimately, right? A lot of the teams play up to the Lakers. They play harder for the Lakers. We saw Kawhi Leonard play 39 minutes. He rarely does that. We also saw, of course, Norman Powell play for a little bit, and he was out for a while. So it's at the point where it's a little bit funny. It's intriguing, I guess, to say the least, but it makes sense. Teams want to play up and want to compete with the Los Angeles Lakers, and now that they have Luka Doncic, that's even elevated even more. So just a funny comment there about Luka Doncic. I wanted to bring that up because he's obviously coming from playing with the Dallas Mavericks, who are struggling now, but the Lakers on a roll. Everybody, and again, we're in LA, or the Lakers are in LA. It's a big city, huge team, biggest team in the NBA. So it's gonna be interesting to see. Let me know down below what your thoughts are on that. But let's dive into a couple of the injury updates. So obviously, we know that we covered Luka Doncic, but I want to focus on Austin Reaves' calf injury diagnosis because JJ Redick we knew the MRI came back as negative, but we didn't know to the extent of which things were happening there. He said, I feel like it was good news that there wasn't anything structural or any muscle injury. So we'll manage him like we would any other player, and when he's ready to go, he'll be back. So not a ton of information there from JJ Redick. We know that, again, the MRI was negative, but that he used day-to-day, and he was actually doubtful. He wasn't immediately ruled out of yesterday's game. I would assume they're going to rest him probably until Saturday. I think Saturday against the Celtics is probably the game that they're going to aim for his return to be, because you want to be healthy for that game. But also, it won't hurt to give Austin Reaves a break. He's been carrying the load. He's been playing all the games where, Luka's missing time, LeBron's missing time, AD earlier in the season, if he missed any time, when he's missing time. You had Austin Reaves always there, the reliable player. So now that he's down with an injury, it won't hurt to give him a little bit of rest. And the fact that, again, the calf injury came back as clean is extremely good. And like JJ Redick said, there was no structural damage and no muscle injury. So it provides some more clarity on that front. But they're still going to manage him like any other player. Because we know Rui Hachimura is going to be out for at least a week. I would suspect 2 to 3 weeks, maybe even a month. But it could be earlier than that. His injury seems a bit more serious than the other guys. Austin Reaves, on the other hand, the injury's fine. He's going to be okay. But they do ultimately have to manage him as they would a lot of these other, injuries. But at the end of the day, very, very good news as it pertains to Austin Reaves. And again, you have players, and that's the benefit of having Luka Doncic, and we discussed it, Hunter and I, in the post-game video yesterday. Having a guy like Luka Doncic on your team allows lineups when A, you're dealing with injuries, Austin Reaves, Jordan Goodwin, Rui Hachimura, and B, when LeBron James either having an off night or needs some rest, having Luka Doncic, a guy who can bring up the ball and create his own shot consistently, makes the players around him better. And we saw yesterday, Vando had a great game. Shake Milton even hit a couple threes. But Dalton Knecht had the big game yesterday. And games where you're missing a guy like Gosse and Reaves, having Luka Doncic be able to elevate the floor and elevate the ceiling of those role players is crucial. And it allows the team to be a bit deeper, especially when it pertains to dealing with injuries like JJ Redick has been dealing with the lineups, specifically revolving around Austin Reaves, Hachimura, and all those guys. So let me know down below what your thoughts are on that. Some pretty, interesting news there. But one of the big ones here is JJ Redick says that the Lakers guard Jordan Goodwin ankle has a grade 1 sprain, which he says is the best version of bad news you can get. So, it's both good and bad here. It's unknown how long he's going to miss. Again, he was day-to-day. We'll have to see. But he has a grade 1 ankle sprain. Ankle sprains are rough. Some players try to play through them. Other players, it's interesting. And let's not forget, he's still on his 2-way contract, so they do need to convert him at some point to their deal. And again, we saw yesterday, even in a injury-riddled lineup, Cam Reddish got no minutes. So you would assume in any move to convert Jordan Goodwin's contract, even Trey Jemiston's contract, he also needs to be converted from a 2-way to a standard. He's playing really good ball. Like, both of these guys are playing really, really good basketball. And to be able to potentially now have to convert both of them with how good they're playing, especially Trey Jemiston against some of those bigger guys, it's going to be interesting. But as it pertains to Jordan Goodwin, let alone having to convert him from a 2-way to a standard contract, he's playing really good basketball. He's kind of taken over a little bit of the Max Christie role, albeit at a lower scale here in a shorter period of time. But his defense is good. He has active hands, and if he can continue to shoot the 3-ball good, he's going to get so many threes wide open just based off of Luka Doncic and LeBron James' presence. So the fact that he has an ankle sprain, not ideal. But again, we're getting a bunch of updates, so hopefully he won't miss too much time because he's become one of the more important bench players on this team. He's overtaken Shake Milton. He's overtaken, Dalton Knecht's minutes. But now it's going to be big also for Dalton Knecht. Like, with this Lakers team, it has a huge domino effect. Whether you're missing 3 guys, no guys, Dalton Knecht can step up. It's always going to be next man up. And because you have Luka Doncic, because you have LeBron James, that next man up mentality is going to be able to translate now into guys who aren't necessarily the best players having an elevated role and going to be able to get a lot more wide open shots. Let me know down below what your thoughts are on this. Tons of updates coming out, and hopefully they'll be okay because, again, the Lakers now are 38-21, the 2 seed in the West. They've won 6 straight in 18 of their last 22 games without Aaron Rui. Pelicans, they go up against them tomorrow. And ladies and gentlemen, there's people already starting to clamor for the postseason preview of the Lakers versus the Thunder, which is an interesting matchup. So it's going to be a crazy end to this season. The Lakers are, a blast to watch at the end of the day. And hopefully if Luka Doncic can stay healthy, LeBron can stay healthy, putting up historic numbers at his age, the team is going to be in very good shape. And especially now, you never want injuries to happen, but you'd rather some of these injuries happen now towards the end of the season into the playoffs, because hopefully by the time the playoffs roll around, everybody will be healthy. Austin Reaves, Hachimura, Jordan Goodwin. And in the meantime, you have Dorian Finney-Smith, who had a fantastic game yesterday defensively, finally put up double-digit points with 11. Everything's looking good. We're going to keep you up to date with all the latest news, so make sure to hit the subscribe button. Cheers.